Morning.
Everyone, and we're soon to be starting in like 2 minutes. So welcome everybody. I think that Roman, if you could adjust your lighting as well as Anastasia, that would be really, really brilliant. And even if Anastasia, if you could turn your mobile maybe on the other direction, that would be really, really great. Thank you, Roman.
Well, we are not presenting, we are here to support. Maybe there's no need of our...
I'm here, I'm Natalia, I'm here with the camera.
Perfect, great. Welcome to the first UniCities Transition Lab Forum. This is a kickoff of the effort to accelerate learning to rebuild cities in Ukraine in a way that enables climate neutral and sustainable futures for all. And the key in this is to build a platform so strong collaboration between cities, universities, companies and civil society. We will hear more about UniCities in a minute. I'm Åsa Minås from Viable Cities in Sweden, and I have the privilege to be your moderator here today. So first on the agenda, we have an introduction from the organizers. And now I'm very happy to introduce some of the key people in UniCities initiative. We will hear from the organizations who are the initiators of UniCities from Sweden, from Spain, and from Ukraine. First of all, I'd like you to introduce Olga Kordas, who is the program director of Viable Cities, an associate professor of sustainable urban development at KTH, Royal Institute of Technology, and also my boss. So over to you, Olga.
Thank you, Åsa. On behalf of Viable Cities and the Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, Sweden, I am so happy to welcome you at the UniCities Transition Lab Forum. We focus today on the green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities. Many cities in the world are accelerating transition to climate neutral future. In Europe, the city mission is launched to help more than 100 European cities to become climate neutral already by 2030, and also do it in the way that cities are becoming even more attractive and also inclusive for their citizens. In Sweden and in Spain, national platforms have been created. In Sweden, Viable Cities, in Spain, Cities 2030, to support cities' transition towards climate neutral future. Viable Cities is a strategic innovation program of Sweden, and we are working with 23 cities in Sweden that are having high climate ambitions. They're representing 40% of Sweden's population. So based on the experiences from Viable Cities in Sweden and also Cities 2030 in Spain, we had an idea to create a sister organization in Ukraine. and we called it UniCities. For 1 year ago, we applied for funds from European Commission, from Erasmus Plus program, in order to support creation of UniCities. We've done it 1 week before the war started. And of course, now the context of this development is very different. As Ukrainian and as a person coming from Ukraine, I'm so proud to see that talking about and working on reconstruction of Ukrainian cities already now, Ukrainian cities and Ukrainian government are thinking and doing a lot that future Ukrainian cities are becoming even more green and climate smart. So both Viable Cities and Cities 2030s are united in a way that the universities, the Royal Institute of Technology and Polytechnic in Madrid, so we're taking the lead to create those multi-stakeholder platforms to help cities. And then we believe that the cities' roles are immensely important. So then we would love to support Ukrainian universities, Ukrainian cities, civil society organizations and companies to create this kind of strong national platform to support cities' transition. So on behalf of the whole team of UniCities, I'm so happy to welcome you again. And I am happy also to give the floor back to Åsa, our moderator. Thank you, Åsa.
Thank you so much, Olga. And as Olga said, we also have a sibling program in Spain. So now I'm very happy to introduce Julio Lombreras, who is the director of Cities 2030 and also a professor at University Polytechnica in Madrid. So welcome, Julio. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Åsa and Olga. It's a great pleasure to stay here today with you. Thank you for inviting us. And we just want to welcome you from UPM, from the Technical University of Madrid, which is the largest technical university in Spain and in Latin America with strong connections with Latin America. And we are very honored to be members of this Erasmus Plus program. And we are very much looking forward to learn from Ukrainian cities, from all the other partners that we are together in this project. And what we want to work with you is to share our experience in Spain. You know that, as Olga said, and thanks to the inspiration from Viable Cities, they were totally inspiring for us. Thanks to the effort and the work that Viable Cities developed in Sweden is why we in Spain developed our Spanish platform. And thanks to the work in these 8 years that you started 8 years ago, we are now trying to do similar things within our context and with a bit of different approach, but very much following your path, right? And what we are doing is now we have this national platform in Spain with 15 cities working in the platform. And the 15 cities are the 7 mission cities that were accepted to be part of the 112 in the European Cities Mission. But now we have also 8 additional cities that are willing to follow the work that the other cities are doing, and we are increasing the number. We hope that by the end of the year, we'll have 20 cities. And what I think it's interesting and what we can share with you is how we are prototyping a radical collaboration between cities and with other stakeholders, because the national platform is not a cities network. It's a platform where private sector, where civil society, and where all levels of the administration, local, national, regional, and also European in some cases, and also the academia, the universities and research centers work together to face and to solve the challenges that cities are now facing to transform themselves to be more sustainable, healthier, and to become climate neutral. And what I think it's interesting, and we were in a previous session this morning with the Ukrainian cities, and now Ukrainian cities are facing this huge challenge of rebuilding and of rethinking on how cities can be built in a sustainable way. And what we've learned in our platform is how important it is to work together in a real sense, right? And for example, what we are doing in Spain is we are developing a program to retrofit 1 million households in 7 years between these 7 cities. And what the cities are realizing is that when they work together, they can reach the scale and the pace that is needed for this transformation. When they work together, they can attract funds in a better way. They can develop new ways of working. They can, reduce risk. They can attract the private companies, but also they can engage the national government and change some regulations. So working together, things that apparently seems impossible, like the mission, or very difficult, become possible. Thanks to this collaboration between cities, they can do the systemic change at the scale and pace needed. And that's what we are learning in Spain. And that's the main lesson we want to share, and how we are prototyping this and try to collaborate with Sweden and with the Ukrainian cities and with other places in Europe. By the way, there are other countries that are already starting other national platforms. So we are very happy to work with you and looking forward to this amazing collaboration.
Thank you so much, Julio. And now over to one of the organizations who is initiating the UniCities initiative from the Ukrainian side. Welcome, Veronica Hudule. Help me, Veronica. Hudule. I will get there. You're Veronica to me. So she's the rector of ISTU. Over to you, Veronica.
ISTU, International Scientific Technical University. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Do you hear me? Everything okay? On behalf of International Scientific and Technical University, I'm happy to welcome our dear guests and colleagues. It gives me a great pleasure to start this occasion and heartily welcome everybody. Thank you for each and every one of you for being here with us today. A few words about our university. In 2023, International Scientific and Technical University celebrates its 30th anniversary. Over the years of its existence, the university has trained more than 50,000 highly qualified specialists who successfully work in various sectors of national economy of Ukraine, in particular in the oil and gas industry, in government bodies, educational institutions, etc. It should be noted that a significant number of graduates work at our university. Today, ICTU is a multidisciplinary educational and scientific complex, which includes 7 structural divisions in Ukraine and the UNESCO Chair Information and Communication Technologies in Education. And now the university staff, multiplying the glorious tradition, is making significant efforts to continue a full-fledged educational process and scientific activity during the full-scale Russian invasion. One of the priorities of the university is volunteering. We have migrant university libraries affected by hostilities, as well as training applicants for education from the occupied territory and territories where active hostilities are taking place. Significant scientific potential, active introduction of digital technologies, high professionalism and selfless work of their staff have become the key to the stability to the university in today's difficult conditions. Considering this, our university is increasing its efforts in the field of scientific international activities, actively developing academic mobility programs, and confidently feeding into the European education space. International Scientific and Technical University is a participant of numerous international projects like Tempus, Erasmus+, CRDF, Global, UNIDA, etc. So since 2023, our university has become part of consortium implementing the European Union Erasmus+ project, unlocking the transformative potential in Ukrainian university towards climate neutral and sustainable cities, short names UniCities. The implementation of this project involves the support of partners in Ukraine in the creation of innovative structures with the mission of building climate neutral and sustainable cities in Ukraine. The UniCities project consortium includes 2 European and 4 Ukrainian universities, the Association of Cities of Ukraine, a Research Institute, and other public partners who are uniting efforts around climate smart and ecological reconstruction of Ukrainian cities. The experience of university community from Spain, University Polytechnic of Madrid, Cities 2030, and Sweden, KTH, Royal Institute of Technology, Valuable Cities, demonstrate that higher educational institutions relying on the neutrality, research capacity, relations with stakeholders in society of the huge potential of engaging young people. Have powerful opportunities for unification of all interested parties and also enable interdisciplinary approaches in funding solutions. The implementation of European experience will be only be possible through a collaborative approach between local, regional, and national authorities, private companies, civil society, universities, research institutes, as well as citizens. We can act together through a portfolio project that activate the levers of urban transformation.
I think we need to wrap up here, Veronica.
So I invite all participants for fruitful cooperation. I hope that you all enjoy the exciting speakers. Thank you very much.
To be continued. Thank you so much, Veronica.
Yeah.
So now the fourth, and not least, but last of the 4, Natalia Lazarzenko, who is from the Association of Ukrainian Cities, who is also one of the organizations involved in UniCities. Over to you, Natalia.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm representing the Association of Ukrainian Cities. This is the association which today unites more than 1,000 municipalities. It means that in these municipalities, more than 90% of the Ukrainian population resides. So we work with cities, with big and small and medium size, with towns, settlements and villages. So we unite all types of municipalities in Ukraine, and we are a very reliable partner of the Parliament of Ukraine, of the government of Ukraine, and the Office of the President of Ukraine. We have a wide international cooperation. We help to establish contacts between municipalities from Ukraine and from different countries, as well as we also provide training to local government officials. And today we are talking about green rebuilding. Green rebuilding of Ukraine is a very important task. In terms of the war in Ukraine, first of all, because the war influences greatly on our environment, and it really influences greatly on our communities. As far as you know, there are a lot of municipalities that were attacked by the Russian Federation, and they are facing huge challenges with the damaged or ruined critical infrastructure, schools, roads, hospitals, and all other things that are very important for the community. And of course, the war kills a lot of lives of citizens, including kids. So we should unite our efforts, and I believe that UniCities, this is a very good place, because our country, in terms of EU accession as well, will need to comply with the EU standards of green technologies. We need your knowledge and practices, and also we need some specialists. We also need some specialists that will know how to rebuild our municipalities from zero, or how to reconstruct our municipalities using EU standards. Because if we have such an opportunity to build something new, we would better use the technologies when we become, like keeping in mind that AUC will become the member of the European community and society. So that's why we really believe that the cooperation with the universities, it is very important, because we need specialists, and also our association, as we deal with training of local government officials, we are ready to share this knowledge among local government officials. So thank you so much. We are ready to cooperate, and we wish fruitful cooperation today.
Thank you so much, Natalia. Very impressive. 1,000 new municipalities. What a network. So let's talk a little bit more about sustainable rebuilding and the revitalization of Ukraine. The Ukrainian government is, of course, dealing with a very severe situation of war. Still, in the midst of this war, there are efforts of rebuilding and revitalization. We will now hear more about this from a representative from the government. I have the honor to introduce Olena Ripish. She is the state expert and the expert group on Green Deal, environment and climate change at the governmental offices on European integration and NATO. Welcome, Olena. Over to you.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It is a great pleasure for me to be here at this event and to be the part of this discussion and take part in the sustainable and climate resilient recovery of Ukraine. So the last decade was the warmest on record, and according to the last scientific reports, if nothing changes and if the greenhouse gas emissions will not decrease, the temperature will rise. And as we know, everything is connected. So these changes influence the frequent extreme weather events, as well as it destroying cities and natural environment. Based on the President's decree on sustainable development goals, Ukraine is working on implementation of SDG 13 in the way to decrease greenhouse gas emission reduction. The issue of climate change is urgent and on highly political priority for all over the world, but for Ukraine as well. And taking into account that we are now the candidate to the EU membership, we need to approximate our legislation to the European, as well as Ukraine share the goals, the EU goals in climate policy, and we wish to be the part of EU Green Deal, aiming to transform Europe and to a modern, efficient and climate neutral continent. And we are sure that we can be the part of this great work. Our country was one of the first to ratify Climate Paris Agreement, and in 2021, the government approved the updated national determined contribution, according to which we set a target that we aim to reduce GHG emissions up to 65% from 1990 level. But however, in 2022, in February, the armed aggression of Russian Federation and on a significant territory of Ukraine created a lot of economic challenges, loss of housing, food shortage. It complicated logistics and destroyed the critical infrastructure. And for example, the energy infrastructure, the effective functioning of which is important to reduce greenhouse gas emissions in Ukraine, was highly destroyed or damaged. But Ukrainian government is already working on the recovery plan, and we convinced that this reconstruction of Ukraine should take into account climate goals and the green transformation. And it should be green recovery even at the first stages of reconstruction. And it will create the sustainable competitive economy for Ukraine using the latest international trends, best available science and technologies, nature-based solutions, and of course, improve international cooperation. The development of renewable energy and energy efficiency is also a high political priority for Ukraine, and it should be the main direction for our green reconstruction. Even the initial stages will help to reconstruct housing, education, and healthcare facilities, improve energy and water supply, as well as public transportation also can give the high importance in Ukraine. So, dear colleagues, I'm pleased to welcome the great UniCities initiative, and I'm sure that it will gather all stakeholders, national, regional institutions, scientific representatives, active universities, together with young voices, and it will increase this project for sure will be successful, and it will serve as a great basis for expand our climate cooperation in the future. Cities and regions understand their problems and needs, their abilities much more than the national level. So it is important to work on the regional and local levels to ensure that Ukrainian cities are moving towards climate neutrality. And for example, we have a really great example under the EU Covenant of Mayors initiative, under which a lot of Ukrainian cities and towns preparing their climate and energy plans in order to increase climate ambitions and move towards decarbonized and resilient cities. This can serve as a great basis of the cooperative work, especially under your project. So again, we're pleased to be present here, and we're sure that it will be a great start of our green recovery agenda, as well as it will ensure that Ukraine, together with EU, moving towards climate neutrality and ensure the sustainable development of our regions. And we hope to cooperate together and to become the part of this great initiative. Thank you.
So much, Olena. And I have a follow-up question for you. If you could summarize, in your view, what is the importance of international collaboration in the green building of Ukrainian cities? What would you kind of sum that up? What is most important in this international collaboration?
So collaboration, and especially international collaboration, for sure is important, and it is no doubt, but it helps to exchange views, exchange knowledge, lessons learned, and we can learn not only the good lessons, but also failures of some projects or other things, and we can learn and improve our work. And it help us to practice on successful completing existing future work. Also, it helps gather a lot of views, engage stakeholders, and receive support. And of course, it ensures transparent process and help us to hear more voices and good ideas, for example. And of course, cooperation include institutional and technical support. It increase our capacity, and it ensure timely finishing and timely implementation of the projects, for example.
Thank you so much, and really happy to hear that climate neutral cities in the reconstruction of Ukrainian cities is a priority for the Ukrainian government. And we talk a lot about bravery between policymakers and to get this sustainable development done. So very impressive that you are on board with us and looking forward to future collaboration. Thank you so much, Olena.
Thank you.
So now let's dive into the European Cities mission. We have been talking about this earlier on. Olga and Julio touched upon it in the introduction. How could this contribute to the green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities? In the autumn of 2021, the European Commission launched the Cities Mission to mobilize stakeholders across society to achieve climate neutrality in cities. And we are very pleased to have with us today Patrick Child, who is the person in charge of this mission. He is the Deputy Director General at the DG Environment at the European Commission. And he's also the mission manager for Climate Neutral and Smart Cities mission. The stage is yours, Patrick. Tell us about the mission. Thank you.
Well, thank you very, very much. And I'm hugely grateful to Viable Cities and in particular to Olga Kordas and for all the colleagues for this very timely opportunity to talk about the challenges associated with the green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities as part of this UniCities Transition Lab Forum. And as mission managers, I think I'd like just to touch on three main topics in addressing you today. Firstly, why we are concentrating our efforts particularly on cities through this European mission on climate neutral and smart cities. Secondly, what we've done so far and who we hope to be the main beneficiaries of the mission. And thirdly, and more specifically, how we see the cities mission contributing to the green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities. So firstly, to set the scene a little bit, why do we need a European Union mission on cities and what's it all about? Now, as we know, cities cover about 3% of the land on Earth, yet they produce 70% of all global greenhouse gas emissions. And by 2050, we expect that 85% of the European population will be living in cities. And so it's vitally important within cities that we have decarbonization strategies for energy, transport and buildings, but also for wider issues like industry and the connection with agricultural policies, which all come together and intersect with our climate and environmental agendas, all under, of course, the chapeau of the European Green Deal. Because we believe that cities can really create the economies of scale that are needed to pilot and scale up the new ideas and concepts that can deliver on our climate and sustainability objectives at the local level. Cities are, of course, at the forefront of the climate emergency and of many other existentially threatening crises, and in particular, the sort of challenges that we face for pollution and nature preservation. They're hugely affected also by the consequences of the pandemic, and now the very, very significant economic and social challenges flowing from the Russian invasion of the Ukraine. But what is, I think, also very encouraging is that cities have determination and ambition to lead our societies in meeting these challenges. Many cities want to go further and faster than their national governments. And I see across the European Union and beyond, cities taking a lead in committing to achieve ambitious goals of climate neutrality by 2030. And that these are really essential in inspiring, encouraging, and sharing experiences with many others all over Europe and in our neighboring countries that will help us collectively to make Europe climate neutral by 2050. As part of our overall strategy under the European Green Deal. And these are the objectives of the city's mission. So what we've done so far, and this is my second main point, is that we've selected 100 cities from within the European Union, 12 from associated countries, and from a hugely impressive field of 377 cities that originally expressed interest to join the mission. And taking together, these cities represent 12% of the European Union population. So a really strong demographic contribution to the overall society in Europe. We therefore have now a powerful community of ambitious cities that are really engaging with support of our mission platform, Net Zero Cities, and a network of dedicated advisors, city advisors, who are supporting the cities in their ambitious agendas, as well as having online access to information and networking opportunities, so that we see cities working more and more across borders, in groups, fostering local cross-sectoral solutions and accelerating the green transitions. the present focus. The cities are working at preparing what we call climate city contracts. This is an innovative instrument which includes a sort of overall statement of ambition, a detailed action plan of how to achieve climate neutrality, and then what for me is very new, but also vitally important, an investment strategy, an investment plan to show how they will take this journey together. And we're very encouraged that we have just in the last weeks received the first group of front-running cities that have shared with us the draft climate city contracts for review by the Commission and the Commission services. We also just recently concluded a sort of pilot program, a project which has provided direct financial support to cities in the mission, but also to other non-mission cities. I'm very happy that 53 cities have already benefited from this direct financial support to enable them to be in a better position to test and implement innovative approaches to rapid decarbonisation. And we're planning to do similar calls in the next months. And I'm very happy that among the selected cities, the 53, we have the city of Rivne in the Ukraine, which will be working in particular on improving energy data management systems for a net zero scenario modeling for the city. And I think that's a really good example of how, you know, the work that we're doing through the cities mission can also reach out to support cities that are not part of the mission, but in associated countries, including in the Ukraine, of course. To take this a little bit further, we're also working on a new twinning program, again, not limited to the cities in our mission, just launched in the last few weeks in order to promote sharing of experience, twinning of cities, to work with cities that have benefited from this first set of pilot projects. And we're looking to develop many more funding opportunities through the Horizon Europe work programs for research and innovation, including on topics like positive energy districts, urban planning and design, greening of natural spaces, and nature-based solutions. And we now also have some specific calls open to promote cooperation and support for Ukrainian cities. And that brings me to the third point I wanted really to mention today, and really is the focus of our discussion. I mean, you will have all seen and remember the very clear statement by the Commission President Ursula von der Leyen in April 2022, and our follow-up work on the Ukraine relief and reconstruction in May of last year, really to promote and develop partnerships, including between the cities of the European Union and the reconstruction of Ukrainian cities. And this whole agenda is really intended to respond to many of the topics that Olena has recently just set out in her very moving and thought-provoking presentation of the challenges facing Ukrainian cities in the very, very difficult and hostile conditions that they are operating. But this European Union effort, I believe, provides us with a real opportunity now to respond to the needs of the Ukraine and its cities, to combine reconstruction considerations with longer-term objectives for climate neutrality and sustainability. And I think that, you know, we see already that the knowledge, capacity, and innovative strategies and solutions that are being developed under the city mission can be translated and be of potential benefit to Ukrainian cities that we see increasingly willing to accelerate the green transition, notwithstanding the continuing hostilities and challenges that they face. And that's why we have just launched this new dedicated call under the city's mission work program with a dedicated budget of 5 billion euros in order specifically to associate Ukrainian cities more closely with the work of the mission. And what we're hoping to see projects under this call doing is firstly mapping cities in the Ukraine that could potentially commit and benefit from setting their own ambitious targets for climate neutrality, identifying and supporting a selection of Ukrainian cities in developing strategies and increasing awareness and capacity of local authorities. And through that, I hope also outreach to local communities, citizens, youth groups, and others who will be a vital part of this green reconstruction effort. We also want, through the project, to support, as I've said, twinning and teaming between European cities and mission cities in the European Union that are in the mission, as well as facilitating the exchange of good practices among Ukrainian cities themselves, as well as other cities in the Ukraine which may not be so closely associated with the mission, but which are nevertheless facing the same reconstruction objectives looking forward. Now, we're hoping, of course, to conduct this work in coordination with other initiatives and global city networks. For example, the Global Covenant of Mayors, C40 Cities, the excellent work that Viable Cities and the UniCities project are doing, as well as international organizations, UN Habitat, the World Economic Forum, and the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. All of these organizations are increasingly active on programs to support the Ukraine reconstruction, working with international financial organizations like the World Bank and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, as well as broader initiatives such as the European Alliance for Cities and Regions, and our own work under the European Committee of the Regions. And so I'm really very, very hopeful that this targeted mission call will deliver some very strong benefits to the participating Ukrainian cities. It fits under a broader umbrella, which we call the Phoenix Initiative, the project for holistic orientation towards environmental new infrastructure in Ukrainian cities. This is something which was launched in particular by the Commissioner for the Environment, Virginijus Sinkevičius, when he was accompanying President von der Leyen and a group of other commissioners to the Ukraine a few months ago, earlier this year, which also includes, as well as the work we're doing through the mission, links with the flagship policies around the new European Bauhaus, which we hope will embrace also challenges of reconstruction in the Ukraine. And also some of the actions that we are taking forward under the dedicated LIFE program for environmental projects in the European Union and associated countries, building on the very recent and very positive association of the Ukraine in the LIFE program, as well as doing what we can through the Phoenix technical dialogues to provide information and support to Ukrainian cities and others on environmental policy and relevant European legislation. So, ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I mean, of course, we are still deeply affected by the uncertainties and dangers related to the persistence of the present conflict. It's still not too early to start thinking about how we will work together to build back Ukrainian cities and how to do it in a ways which are fully aligned on the objectives of the European Green Deal, fully aligned on the Ukraine's ambitions for membership of the European Union and the and full acceptance of the environmental acquis of legislation, which will be, of course, an important part of that. And that's why I think it is great that we have this opportunity today to start thinking about these future challenges. And I believe that the city's mission really offers an amazing opportunity for us to develop and foster this reflection by establishing, firstly, very clear targets for our objectives in terms of climate neutrality, a high level of ambition, but also a real spirit of togetherness and partnership as we share experiences and resources from an increasingly large, diverse and dynamic community. So I'm really, as I say, delighted to be part of the discussion today and to take this opportunity to encourage everyone participating in this group, but also more widely, to embrace the challenges and work together with us on this exciting agenda.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for this expose of the city's mission. Quite a mobilization across Europe, and now you've made it very clear that the reconstruction of Ukrainian cities is also part and parcel of this city's mission. But if you were to kind of say a few words more about how do you envision the future integration of Ukrainian cities in the EU cities mission? You mentioned some, but would you like to develop that a little bit further?
Well, thank you. I mean, I hope that I've shared as much as I can. I mean, I was last week, in fact, just in Poland, talking to the community of Polish cities which are part of the mission, and of course, given the geographical location, very, very, very much concentrated on the challenges of the present conflict. The country, of course, which is receiving the most refugees from the Ukraine, and where the appetite for developing this partnership was therefore extremely strong. And I think that what we need to do is to work with Ukrainian cities at different levels. Firstly, the sort of direct financial support that I talked about, the twinning, the sort of support for Ukrainian cities themselves through things like this pilot, which will enable the cities as they start to confront the reconstruction challenges to make sure that that is done in a green and sustainable way. Secondly, I think we need to foster a greater sense of sort of collective awareness within the cities that are participating in the mission of the opportunities that are there to reach out and share their experiences, best practice, link up through networks and other fora to engage with Ukrainian cities as they take forward this reconstruction process. And thirdly, I think increasingly as the discussion on Ukrainian accession to the European Union develops, I see the city's mission as a very good sort of vector or platform for us to share information and knowledge about the implications of European environment legislation in order to help with the necessary sort of legislative alignment, which will be part of the accession process. So I think many opportunities lying ahead, and I just hope very sincerely that we will soon be in a position where the present conflict will be behind us, and that we can really focus in a single-minded way on this sort of green and sustainable climate neutral transition to benefit also Ukrainian cities, drawing on the very considerable body of experience and knowledge which has already been developed through the mission in the cities that are participating and more widely in the European Union.
Thank you so much, Patrick, for being with us today, and looking forward to future discussions on the topic of integrating Ukrainian cities in the cities mission. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So this is quite a long event. So in order for us to be a little bit more kind of awake, maybe it's time for a short break. So let's take 5 minutes, and then we'll get back here in just 5 minutes. Maybe you want a coffee or a glass of water, or just move around a little bit. See you in a short while. Bye for now. Vrida kameran, precis. Ja. So, welcome back from the break. And now we're very happy to talk a little bit more about green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities with one who is busy doing other things, being brave and resilient. We are very happy to be joined today by Vitaly Vlasyuk, Deputy Governor of the Kyiv Regional Military Administration. And he will talk to us about green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities. Very happy that you could carve out time in these busy days. Vitaly, take it away. The floor is yours, Vitaly. We can't hear you. And if you can turn the camera, that would be brilliant. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Right?
That's
so
better.
Great. Thank you for this opportunity. I think it's really important to spread the word, to talk about what was happening here in Kyiv region, what was happening here in March 2022, when active fights took place in Kyiv region, and when brave soldiers of our armed force and militia and average citizens, all of us, we were fighting back with everything we had. And apologies. That month it was really hard. And then in April came time of rebuild, time of providing the liberated territories of Kyiv region with the most important things like food, like medicine, like water. It was very hard to provide all thousands of people which were living under occupation and had no possibility even to talk to their relatives because we had almost no connection in that zones. But we resulted to be capable to cover all the needs of these people. And the first challenges were handled by our administration, by the office of the president, by the government, by local communities. And since late summer, we began our preparations to the winter. As you know, in Ukraine, average winter is like from 5 to 10 below zero. And it's quite important to provide the population, to provide the facilities, to provide hospitals, schools with power, with heating, so our people can basically survive the winter. And we were quite, we did understand that Russians, they are going to try to kill some infrastructure objects, to bombard it, so to cut off the energy, to terrify the Ukraine, our civil population, all that things. So since the late of summer, we were trying to provide the most important buildings like hospitals, like administrative buildings, like schools, with such things like generators. First option, and second option, what resulted to be even more important, like energy sustainable solutions, solar panels, batteries, even some wind mills, all that things. And I'm very proud now to say two things. First, every hospital of Kyiv region were supplied non-stop energy. by generators or solar panels. Second thing here is we had none of hospitals in Kyiv region a year ago. None of hospitals were equipped with solar panels. Now we have 6 hospitals in Kyiv region with solar panels and with batteries, and that's only the beginning of this process. The main goal here is that every hospital of Kyiv region, we have basically 50 big hospitals and 120 small hospitals in Kyiv region. We'd like to provide every one of them with solar panels, with batteries, with heating pumps, possibly with windmills, like alternatively. After hospitals come schools, and also 3 universities in Kyiv region, also some administrative buildings, and we are more than happy to inspire private capital, to inspire landlords to purchase such equipment as well. Also, we would be very happy to welcome any investors in this area, so they can come here and sell their equipment to provide the main goal for us, energy autonomy. So we would be independent, whatever strike Russians can possibly make against us. That's briefly about what were we doing and what we are doing now, and the main approach we'd like to carry on.
Come to be with us, Vitali. I know that you are very preoccupied by other things, and it's very impressive to hear that you're still, while rebuilding from the devastation, you're really managing to integrate such things as solar power, wind power, and heat pumps and other solutions that pave the way for a sustainable future in Ukraine. And if you look at kind of the importance in the rebuilding of Ukrainian cities, what is important in this rebuilding to ensure that there will be a climate neutral and sustainable future for citizens in Kiev and Ukraine?
That is why we are trying to cooperate with such organizations, such non-governmental organizations like Greenpeace,
Yep.
Other organizations which really do very good things regarding neutral energy, regarding energy efficiency. We are not only trying to install some equipment on the roofs or in the basements. Also, we are trying to run some energy audit to the old buildings in Kyiv region, starting obviously from public ones, and then we'd like to make some construction works, like putting extra insulation, steel, to provide energy autonomy and energy efficiency. Also, I'd like to stress here that Russians, they made very bad impact regarding ecology in Kyiv region also. I think in Ukraine generally as well. The rivers, such a Irpin River, Trubish River, they're quite polluted because of ammunition, because of wrecks of tanks, whatever. Not mentioning here very vital need of demining of Kyiv region, which also may make some impact on the ecology system.
Yeah.
So generally, I'd like to stress here that we do realize this problem, and we do realize that buying generators, it's not the solution. The real solution here depends on how good we, how good we are in implementing in complexity the approach of energy and ecology solutions.
Yeah.
Like that.
So integrating solutions as you reconstruct is really vital, as I understand it, and paving the way for sustainability in such a way. So I'll just need to pause a little bit to see with my technical team. Where are we at? Yeah, okay. So thank you so much, Vitaly, for carving out time in your busy schedule and for being with us today. We look forward to collaborating with stakeholders all across Ukraine and paving the way for a reconstruction that also becomes climate neutral and resilient in the context of Ukraine. Now we have the privilege to go into a Ukrainian and Ukrainian cities rebuilding city perspective. And we have the pleasure to have two city representatives from Ukraine with us, and one of them will be joining a little bit later. That is Alexander Tretyak, the mayor of Rivne. But with us already now, we have Natalia Holshekova, who is head of the International Relations and Investments Department of Chernihiv City Council. And these are two of the Ukrainian cities that are also making efforts to become sustainable and climate neutral while rebuilding. So, Natalia, could you give us some insights and share with you how your city, Chernihiv, is currently working towards climate neutral and sustainable future? And I really am interested to hear how the context of war and reconstruction plays into this work. Over to you, Natalia. Very welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a great pleasure for me to be a participant of such important discussion. I introduce the city of Chernihiv, very ancient. It is about 1,300 years old, but very energetic and perspective. It is in the north of Ukraine, unfortunately on the border with Russia and Belarus. It is about only 100 kilometers, and from the first minute of the war, Chernihiv experienced hard attacks from all kinds of weapons, artillery, missiles, shelling, air bombing, and unfortunately was significant damaged and ruined. Critical infrastructure like supply, heating supply stations were damaged a lot. Social infrastructure, schools, kindergartens, hospitals, dwellings, houses of residents, about 800 multi-story buildings, about 3,000 private houses. So the municipality of Chernihiv had to restore, to repair, to recover everything simultaneously for this year. And of course, it was our priority to restore critical infrastructure, to make repairs in the houses, to provide our people with dwelling. Now, when the first, stage of emergency one is the stage of finishing, we can say so. Now we are planning some strategic aims, and of course green recovery and sustainability is our priority. As for our previous steps, Chernihiv is a participant of the European Union's Covenant of Mayors from 2011, and in 2015 the city adopted the Chernihiv SEAP, Sustainable Energy Development Action Plan for 2015-2023. And of course, it included a number of projects and measures aimed at improving energy. And we had declared intention to reduce CO2 emissions by at least 20% by 2020. And we succeeded to reach the aim of 16% compared to the base level. Although the housing stock increased by about 8,050 square meters, and the number of registered vehicles increased by 36%. And of course, we are thinking of reducing this number of automobiles, and we develop bicycle system and develop bicycle movements, encourage bicycle, but still we have a lot to do in this development. As for our previous steps, we had practice of providing with solar panels some our objects of infrastructure, but to tell you the truth, it's just small scale objects like benches in the parks or installations like a tree with solar panels to charge street lights and so on. So we extremely need more practice, more knowledge, more skills in this way. And now when the CEAP is finished, we are on the way of joining the agreement of mayors on climate and energy, because it was, new climate goals were set until 2050 by European Union. And now we are on the way of developing new CEAP scale with new technologies, with new demands, with new rules, and so on. Actually, we are eager to implement all green innovations and technologies in life of our city, but we are very young and we have only initial steps in this way. So we should say thank you for all such meetings, for such projects, and we try to take part in all kinds of trainings to maintain, to seek any possibility of receiving investments, grants from international technical and financial organizations. So we would be very grateful for any support. And of course, we try to encourage our youth people, our students, our IT sector to help us to achieve these goals. So thank you a lot for listening to me. Thank you.
So interesting to hear from what your city is doing in the midst of being at the border and submitting to all these kinds of terrible destruction. But I'm really interested to know from you, what do you hope for in strengthening the collaboration locally and nationally to become climate neutral and sustainable in your city? What are your big hopes for that? We've heard from other cities and from other initiatives and from the European Commission previously. What are your hopes for the collaboration?
Actually, we we only study, we only find support, we knowledges. So it is very important for us to take part in any kinds of project like Bauhaus. By the way, we are now the participants of also from European Union. We are it is very pleasant and important to have partners in this sphere, because it's strategic one, it's for future. Of course, we are taking some steps, little steps in this way, but I feel that only together with such strong partners from European Union, like such organizations like NEFCA, GIZ, and DENA, and or others, we can achieve these goals.
Great. A lot of people have emphasized the need for radical collaboration and the need to be stronger and bolder and braver together. So we look very much forward to working with you in Chernihiv in the UniCities initiative and in the cities mission going forward, Natalia. Very big thanks to you for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. Be in touch and hope to cooperate in this very important sphere of life. Thank you.
Thank you. So, because of the situation in Ukraine, we have to accommodate for a little bit of flexibility in the program because people are kind of adjusting their schedules as we can. And a lot of people are collaborating here in the studio in Stockholm and in the virtual room from Ukraine and other places to make this happen. But in order to maintain the kind of good flow of the event, we will now take another break. And I really appreciate that because I will go and fetch another cup of coffee. So see you in a bit. So, welcome back from the pause. So now we've had a little bit of reshufflement in the program, but now we will talk a little bit about multinational cooperation for sustainable and climate-neutral rebuilding in Ukraine. And we have learned earlier today that the Ukrainian government has highlighted the significance of Ukraine's green recovery and the priority of climate-neutral cities. However, achieving climate-neutral future is a huge and complex undertaking. And a recent collaborative assessment conducted by the Ukrainian government, the World Bank, the European Commission and the United Nations estimates the cost of reconstruction and recovery in Ukraine to $411 billion or 383 billion euros. Quite a huge amount. And the complexity and scope of this recovery makes multinational collaboration essential for the sustainable and climate-neutral rebuilding efforts. And we are very happy to have with us today Oksana Kisil, who is a representative of the Covenant of Mayors that several people have talked about today, and she is based in Ukraine. So over to you. You are representing, welcome very much, Oksana, and happy to have you with us a little bit earlier than scheduled. You're representing the Covenant of Mayors, and I know that mayors in the Covenant has 103 cities globally that have pledged to achieve climate neutrality by 2050, or nearly 200 mayors. And I know many of Ukrainian cities have made similar pledges, and Chernihiv talked about their involvement in the Covenant of Mayors as well. So please talk to us a little bit about multinational collaboration and the work of Covenant of Mayors in Ukraine. Over to you, Oksana.
Yeah, thanks a lot for this opportunity to promote Ukrainian municipalities, Ukrainian Covenant of Mayors signatories. And I would like to say that we are a real big family, big friendly family, which would like to attract in Ukraine communities, new technology, your knowledges, and of course, practical experience. Just now, Covenant of Mayors family in Ukraine is more than 200 municipalities. We have different type of commitments. Till 2021, the municipality signed commitments to reduce CO2 emission till 2030, minus 30. 30% of CO2 emission till 2030 with long target till 2050. Now these commitments 2 years ago was approved, and we have some stronger commitments related to climate neutrality till 2050 and minus 35% till 2030. Of course, just now there is a huge discussion about long-term commitments till 2050 for Ukrainian municipalities. What level of climate neutrality it will be? It will be 85% or 90% or maybe 75%. It's a real huge topic of discussion. And if you have some practical advising for Ukrainian municipalities, for Ukrainian Covenant of Mayors team, please provide you experience, because we understand perfectly that we need to invest as much as possible in green energy. We need to invest as much as possible in natural-based solutions, in energy efficiency, in renewables energy during the recovering of Ukraine, during rebuilding of Ukraine municipalities. But we need real practical discussion. What is the real target for Ukrainian communities now, because we understand perfectly that mitigation pillar, if you speak about Covenant of Mayors, we have three pillars: mitigation, adaptation, and energy poverty. And just now mitigation pillar is priority for us. But at the same time, we need to think more about energy security, about decentralization of local energy resources for heating and electricity, because we had real difficult winter season last year, and we need to understand that energy security should be at the same level as energy efficiency and renewables. And what just now is important for Ukraine and for your understanding, we had a huge conference 1 week ago in Lviv, where we invited EU representative donors, more than 200 municipalities, and discuss the prioritization for recovering of green recovering of Ukraine. And just now the situation changed after February 2022. Just now, Ukrainian mayors are looking for strategical vision. They really need strategical vision how community will be developed in 10, 20, until 2050 years. Because if we, honestly, if we speak about history of Covenant of Mayors 5 years ago, it was so difficult to find the mayors who wanted to discuss about long strategy. Everybody wanted to implement short-term project to receive some result and to present it to community. Just now something changed, and I'm so happy that we have real strong team within Covenant of Mayors, I mean on mayors level, who are thinking deep just now about climate neutrality, climate resilience, and energy poverty. Honestly, just now we are analyzed, developed CCAP during previous years, and tried to update with several municipalities, even in west part of Ukraine, because the priority changed. And mayors, Ukrainian mayors want to be more greener, more energy independent, and more resilience. I understand perfectly that mitigation topic is priority for Ukraine. Of course, it's energy efficiency, renewables. But if you speak about resilience, I would like to draw your attention that resilience, natural-based solution, climate adaptation, and just now I'm focusing on Covenant of Mayors at national level, and even more some big municipalities, as Kyiv, example, created special department which will be responsible for climate resilience of Kyiv city. I would like to say that we try to push municipalities to think not only about energy efficiency, but to think more strategical and how the city will be in 2050. I hope that Ukrainian municipalities, Ukrainian mayors change some point of view in EU countries, that Ukrainian municipalities could be as a good partner for long strategy. I would like to say that now Ukrainian municipalities, Ukrainian mayors are a real good partner for long strategy planning, for long strategy investments, and they are focusing mostly on green and resilience recovery. Since maybe you have many questions, I'm happy to open and provide some additional information.
Thank you so much for being with us here, Oksana. And what would you say is the potential for the collaboration within the cities mission and the Ukrainian cities as you know them? It's very, very interesting to hear that you have now a vision that is more long-term and more strategic. in the midst of this green recovery, what do you see as the potential of joining forces with other European countries and cities in raising the ambition for a sustainable future for all?
If you speak about SICAP sectors, some sectors could reach climate neutrality till 2050. Just now, I'm mostly focusing on 2050 because it's launched a term target for Covenant of Mayors. Yes, if you speak about district heating, street lighting, yes, it's possible, but there is some sectors, and I'm a little bit criticized as transport, or transport mobility, which is not so learned by Ukrainian municipalities, and sometimes we don't know how to change situation with climate neutrality within transport sector. For us, it's critical, yes. And the second issue is building sectors. Just now we understand that some buildings should be destroyed. Sorry, I said so, but it's true. Should be destroyed totally because there is no reason to invest any money in these buildings. It was old and not energy efficiency buildings, and we need to think about new planning of buildings, not only buildings, new planning of districts in many Ukrainian cities. And that's why we have two doubts on the level of Covenant of Mayors. It's building sectors, both residential and social buildings, and the second one is transport sector.
So huge potentials in many sectors then, Oksana.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Yeah.
And now has come the time to hear from a city perspective on mobilizing for climate neutral cities and what we can learn from the experiences of cities in Spain and in Sweden. And we are very, very happy to be joined by two cities, one from Spain and one from Sweden. We have heard both that Sweden and Spain are mobilizing quite a number of cities and actors at the national level to become climate neutral by 2030. In addition, many of these cities are also part of the same mobilization at the European level, the Cities Mission. So now we have the pleasure to hear from a Spanish city, Madrid, and a Swedish city, Uppsala. And I have the pleasure to welcome on stage both Erik Pelling, who is the mayor of Uppsala in Sweden, and Santiago Saura, Councillor of International Affairs in Madrid, Spain. Welcome, Erik and Santiago. So, really, really happy to have cities from Spain and Sweden joining us today. Could you please share some of highlights of your current work on climate transition in a just perspective in your city? How do you engage different stakeholders in this? And would you like to start, Santiago, from the Madrid perspective? And we can't hear you. There's something wrong with the sound. There seems to be kind of no problem from our side. Maybe there's something with your... and then I go over to Erik. If we can hear you, Erik. Let's see.
Can you hear me?
Yes, the microphone from Uppsala is working. So please start sharing some highlights of your current work of climate transition in Uppsala, Erik.
Okay. Thank you for having me with you today. Well, first of all, you need to have a clear goal and an ambitious goal to work for. And then you have to engage different stakeholders in your local society in order to achieve that goal. But every change starts with an ambitious goal. And we all share the same goal that we want to be climate neutral by 2030. And at least for Uppsala, as soon as possible after that, we want to be climate positive. And we are working with several initiatives to engage people in order to achieve this. one recent example is that we now will start to implement our own carbon dioxide budget for the municipality as an organization and for the municipality as geographical area. And we will be better in counting and having the right statistics so that we can follow the progression. In order to encourage people, you need to show them that it makes a difference when they engage. And another example is something we call Uppsala Climate Protocol. And that is a platform where we work together with the private companies and the big institutions of the municipality.
Estoy probando.
Yeah, now it's working, Santiago. Thank you. Great. So the Uppsala Climate Protocol is a kind of convening network.
Yes, because the municipality as organization, I mean, we can achieve something, but not all. We need to work with other partners. And then we have the big enterprises and the big institutions. We have 2 universities, we have the region, and we have the big and small companies. And together with them, we have a common goal also with them. And then we start to, you can say we compete with each other. And together we reach much longer or much lower, as we say. So that's one example of how we engage different stakeholders. And then we have all the citizens. It's also a lot of communications that need to be done. We need to show progress. We need to give good examples. And we need to encourage individuals, enterprises, and institutions to make their part. And the municipality needs to take a leading role in all this because we do that in other issues as well. So why shouldn't we do that also when it comes to the climate change?
Yeah, your mandate comes from the citizens of Uppsala. That's true. Thank you so much for now, Erik. Santiago, now that your microphone is working, we are very eager to hear from you about highlights from your work in the climate transition efforts in Madrid.
Thank you very much. My microphone is reconstructed. I think you can hear me now.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Well, first I would like just to say some words of support and solidarity with Ukraine, with all Ukrainian cities and with all the Ukrainian people that is suffering the dramatic consequences of the military invasion of their country. All the support, all the solidarity from Madrid City Council. Regarding the question you were making, in fact, in Madrid, we have been working in Madrid and in other Spanish cities, we have been working on developing, approving, and moving forward, implementing our roadmap towards climate neutrality with different projects in different cities. In Madrid, for example, we have significantly expanded the low emission zones from one single district to 7 districts and to all of the city in just a few months. We have phased out diesel public transport buses. We are putting in place large-scale renaturalization projects like the Metropolitan Forest that will surround the entire city of Madrid, or we are involved in retrofit buildings for energy efficiency, as in fact Julio was mentioning in the opening. No?
Yes.
But in more general terms, what have we learned and what can we provide as valuable for the design and for the green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities? In addition to reference examples of good practices and projects, I think that it's very important that we can share and we can provide a model of architecture and functioning of the ecosystem of actors that are actually needed and can help to move forward this design and this implementation of the green reconstruction in Ukraine.
So the radical collaboration that Julio was referring to earlier on.
Indeed. And this radical collaboration involves like key ingredients. Of course, you need the local stakeholders, you know, like the city council, the private sector, the local organizations. Very important, the academia, in our case, the Technical University of Madrid, but really instrumental to move us forward in this direction.
Yes.
But we also need the collaboration with other cities in Spain and in Europe, or in other cases in Sweden, and now with Ukrainian cities. And we also need the involvement of European international initiatives and efforts.
Yeah.
Among these, I would like to mention, for example, Climate Kick that we joined from Madrid City Council a couple of years ago and has been instrumental in building, together with other Spanish cities, together with Technical University of Madrid, the CTS 2030 platform, in which all the cities, rather than competing, we have been collaborating with each other, sharing challenges, sharing projects, and sharing solutions for moving forward our climate neutrality roadmaps and our climate contracts. And we were all together, 7 cities collaborating together in this Spanish platform, successful in getting part of the European mission on climate neutral cities. And also within this mission, the recent call from the Net Zero Cities projects, the pilot projects of Net Zero Cities, we have again submitted a joint proposal rather than a separate competing proposal. We have submitted a joint proposal of the 7 Spanish cities for working together on multi-stakeholder, innovative, systemic solutions for urban regeneration and energy efficiency, energy rehabilitation of buildings. And all of these elements at the same time have been instrumental for Madrid and for all the Spanish cities to be in a especially advanced position to apply for other funds. For example, in our case in Madrid, so far we have secured more than 400 millions of European next generation funds. More than half of that is for climate action projects. And I think all this ecosystem of actors, local, international, the academia, essential to move forward all the innovation we need to co-design with us all these projects, are really the necessary platform and the necessary ecosystem of efforts we need to really to provide and to mimic in a way, but also to link with Ukrainian cities in this reconstruction phase that we hope we will start as soon as possible.
Very interesting and very inspiring. You're part of kind of this mobilization nationally. Uppsala in 23 cities that are joining forces in the context of Sweden together with national actors. And you, as you said, the Santiago, 7 cities. And as Julio explained, possibly up to 20 cities by the end of the year, also involving national actors. And this is also connected to the European mobilization on climate neutral and sustainable cities. What would you say are the main benefits and opportunities of being part of such a mobilization that is coming both from the local, the national and the European level? Would you like to start, Erik?
It's quite simple. You can't do this alone. You can't do it alone on the local level or neither on the national level. You need to collaborate with other partners, other countries, other cities. And you can learn a lot from other parts of the world and from other cities. And you should and can steal good ideas. I mean, we don't have to do it all by ourselves. So it's mean absolutely everything. And we from Uppsala side would be happy to help also cities in Ukraine, of course, in this effort, because it's one globe that we are sharing.
So actually, you're both referring to we need to get past the competition and work on the collaboration in new forms. And some of our actors in Sweden said that we need to sno och glo in Sweden, which is watch and steal. So this is kind of maybe a new mantra for collaborating. In what ways do you imagine that your city, Madrid and Uppsala, could collaborate with cities in Ukraine around climate and sustainability?
Well, first of all, I mean, we all want and need to help Ukraine in the reconstruction. And that we have done before, after the Second World War, and also during the Spanish Civil War. There was a lot of support coming from Sweden to Spain and the Spanish people, and now we need to do the same for Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. And at the same time, when you're rebuilding reconstruction, you can do things better. You can implement new ideas, and through that you can also achieve the climate goals.
So you can watch and steal from Ukraine.
Of course,
yes.
We will learn a lot. They can learn from us. But the most important lesson that it has been done before, and of course we can do it also now and future on.
Great, thank you. And Santiago.
Yes, I agree with all the points. I would say that the scale and magnitude of investment, of mobilization of projects and of efforts that climate transition and climate action in general requires, but in particular in the frame of the reconstruction of Ukraine, is such that we really need to put all pieces together and work together.
Yeah.
The European mission is an excellent example, and we are working on that with the universities, also with the viable cities in Sweden, with CDS 2030 in Spain. But we need to even look broader, I would say. We need to look to the entire set of networks and initiatives that we can really we have in our hands to move forward for these efforts. I would like to mention that in particular in Madrid we are in communication and we are collaborating with UNECE, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, to support the reconstruction, also the building back better of Ukrainian cities. And we plan to collaborate, UNECE plans to collaborate, and we with them on the development of an online toolbox to provide capacities of local governments in Ukraine to plan and to apply solutions to sustainable urban development and recovery after following this participatory multi-stakeholder approach. I think we need to put together all these pieces, all these online toolbox from United Nations, European Commission, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, together with the European Mission on climate neutral cities, and together with the efforts of many city networks. Have we mentioned some of them, like UniCities, C40, the Covenant of Mayors, and also Metropolis. By the way, we managed to have Kiev as one of the new members of Metropolis last year after the invasion started. So I think all these networks need to be put together and be efficient and ensure that all the efforts are converging towards the final efforts and the final aim of reconstruction, the green reconstruction of Ukrainian cities.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us, Santiago and Eric. Lots of collaboration coming ahead with Ukrainian cities and cities across Europe. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
And now we have the opportunity to be joined again by a representative from a city in Ukraine, the city of Rivne. We are joined here by the mayor, who will present the perspectives of your work with climate neutral and sustainable future in the context of war and reconstruction in Rivne. And I know that you are also part of the city's mission. So very welcome to Alexander Tretyak, Mayor of Rivne. Take it away. The floor is yours. We can't hear you, so there needs to be some... Can we hear you now?
Hello, dear friends and partners.
Perfect.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us here. And I'm a mayor of the city of Rivne. This is a nice city on the western part of Ukraine. So our presentation about net zero vision for our city. This year we are only one and only is the city from Ukraine that
Connection issues here, maybe? So the mayor of Rivne has lost the connection to the internet. So we'll see if there is a possibility to reconnect. So I'll need just to advise with the technical staff here. Do we need to move on in the program or? Han ramlade ut. So the connection was lost from the mayor of Rivne. So is there a possibility maybe to be joined by Roman and Anton. Shall we move on to that point in the schedule? I need a go ahead from the technical team. Yes? Thank you so much. We need to be flexible. I think you're all about being flexible in the context of Ukraine, so that is no news for you. So we're very, very happy now to be joined by two people who are working on the multilateral level in the reconstruction of Ukraine. So we have with us here Roman Palashishnist, who is Energy and Environmental Cluster Team Lead from UNDP in Ukraine. And we also are joined by Anton Kleshov, who is the National Coordinator for UNIDO, Global Eco-Industrial Parks, also in Ukraine, at the country level intervention. So Roman and Anton, you both represent international development agencies here. Could you share your view on multinational collaboration and its importance for the green reconstruction of Ukraine? Would you like to start, Roman?
Yeah. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Dear colleagues, my name is Roman Palohusonets, and I'm represented the GEF and UNDP project, removing barriers to increase investment in energy efficiency in public buildings in Ukraine through the ESCO modality in small and medium-sized cities. So we are part of UNDP's energy and environment portfolio in Ukraine. Our project has a budget more than 5 million euros and is scheduled to conclude this year, but with the possibility of extension for 1 year more. So in Ukraine, two fundamental laws on energy service contracting came into effect in 2016. So the first law simulates private ESCO investments in energy modernization of public buildings. The return of ESCO investments is solely based on the achieved energy savings result from the ESCO's energy efficiency solutions. The second law introduced amendments to the budget code guaranteeing the reimbursement of ESCO investments. So energy efficiency payments are now secured as a budget code provision, ensuring that ESCOs received guaranteed returns on their investments. So currently, more than 500 ESCO contracts have been signed in Ukraine till now, totally over 1 billion hryvnias. It's all about 25 million euro. On average, ESCO achieves savings ranging from 20 to 30% a year. However, due to high credit rates, ESCO face limited financial resources and implement small-scale energy efficiency measures, such as individual thermal installation or individual heating point. Therefore, our project aims to scale up deeper energy efficiency measures by ESCOs. So currently, we are working on 4 main components aimed to removing barriers and promoting private investments in energy efficiency of public buildings through the ESCO mechanism. So the first is improving ESCO legislations, simplifying procurement procedures, and expanding energy modernization by private investments. So the second is creating sensible financial instruments for ESCO, such as factoring, and establishing an ESCO fund to enable ESCO companies receiving the loans on the lower interest rate or without the collateral. So the third component is to implementing a new ESCO pilots projects. While energy service are preliminarily implemented in public buildings this year, in addition to the classical ESCO model, the project focuses on this year on expanding the mechanism for modernization of water supply facilities, heating systems, street lighting, as well as utilizing solar energy with battery storage in hospitals. So we are currently assisting to more than 20 partner cities to procure the energy service for more than 100 projects. So, and the fourth, our components is the introducing a national energy monitoring informational system to comprehensively monitor the consumption from the over 100,000 public buildings at the state level. This system will facilitate benchmarking, control, and enable informed decision-making at the national level. So thank you so much for your attentions.
Thank you so much, Roman. And now we're very, very eager to hear from your colleague Anton. Anton, we're curious to hear about what is UNIDO Global Eco-Industrial Parks Program doing, and how is it changing under these war conditions, and how are you planning to redirect for the future in the context of the reconstruction of Ukrainian cities?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to represent some of the issues related to the project we are implementing on behalf of UNIDO in Ukraine. The Global Eco-Industrial Program on Eco-Industrial Parks implementation is funded by the Switzerland government and implementing since 2019. So we started in the most interesting time directly after the COVID appears in Ukraine, and continue to implementing the project even now during the war times. But I think we have already something to share on the achievements point of view. So the program is implementing in 7 countries of the world, in Peru, Colombia, South Africa, Egypt, Indonesia, Vietnam, and in Ukraine. We are working under the project with 2 main components. The first component is implementation of the legislation environment. So we are working together with the Ministry of Economy on the implementation and harmonization of the local legislation with International Eco-Industrial Parks Framework, which was developed by UNIDO and World Bank. Also, the second component under the project is work in the field, let's say, is work with industrial parks. From the beginning of the project, we used the UNIDO methodology, 3 industrial parks. One was in Bila Tserkva, close to Kyiv. Second was in Sumy, on the east of Ukraine. And the third one in Zaporizhia. After the war, after the full-scale invasion of Russia to Ukraine, a lot of companies started to relocate their facilities to the west of the country, and 2 parks we were not able to support anymore, in Zaporizhia and in Sumy, because of the safety reasons for our experts. So we decided to refocus a bit the project, and also selected 2 more industrial parks in the west of Ukraine to support, to create, let's say, the plots with the proper management for the relocating companies. And now in our portfolio, we have 5 industrial parks, and we are glad to say that 1 out of 3 previously selected, we are continuing to work already several months after industrial park in Sumy. So only industrial park in Zaporizhia, now we are mostly working remotely because of the safety reasons, but I believe that soon we will continue this support of all the 5 industrial parks. So what about the achievements? The main achievements under the policy component are the following. In 2021, the Ministry of Economy, by their order, established the interdepartmental working group on the eco-industrial parks policy implementation in Ukraine. Also, we have the Ministry of Economy, supported by the project, added the eco-industrial park concept to the national economy strategy of Ukraine until 2030. In 2023, the eco-industrial parks model was described in the National Industrial Park Development Strategy until 2023. And also this year, the changing into the laws on industrial park are one of the prioritized actions for the government. So our policy work is going well, and we expecting that before this year we will be able to change the law on industrial park with the amendments on eco-industrial parks.
Perfect. Really great, interesting input from you, Roman and Anton, on the multinational collaboration for sustainable and climate neutral rebuilding in Ukraine. And from both colleagues in the UN system, really inspiring to hear what you're doing to pave the way for a sustainable future in Ukraine. Thank you so much, both Anton and Roman. And now, as we are kind of switching back to Alexander, because now we have a connection. So I introduced you before, Alexander, who is the mayor of Rivne, who carved out some time for us to explain what you are doing in Rivne with regards to climate neutral and sustainable future in the context of Rivne. So take it away, Alexander. Let's see. Now the sound is not working again, so now it's on. So welcome, Alexander.
Yeah, hello one more time. Sorry for these issues related with some connection, but I'm here again, so let's go. So as a city, we've got Net Zero City grant, and we are working now in this case. So the total price of the cost of project is 1 million euro. Rivne has been selected to embark upon unprecedented climate action through the Net Zero City pilot program, a 2-year EU-funded program as a part of European Union cities mission. So together with 52 fellow pilot cities, Rivne will implement innovation actions to accelerate climate and rapidly decarbonization. So with this pilot cities program, Rivne will test and experiment new approaches to transforming the way of life and work, building new energy system and so on. Rivne will be building on multiple levels, some change including governance and policy, learning and capabilities, technology and infrastructure. So the pilot city program will be the opportunity to share learning with other cities, building on each other experience, replacing and scaling solutions that work in similar contexts. This will ultimately lead to an accelerated transition towards climate neutrality across the Europe. So our Department of Economic Development of the Rivne city is the project implementer. So between 2010 and between 2020, Rivne reduced emission by 23%, private transport excluded. So on July 26, 2012, Rivne has joined the EU Covenant of Mayors initiative, which entails a voluntary commitment by cities and towns to go beyond the objectives of the EU energy policy by achieving at least 20% reduction of greenhouse emissions by 2020. So Rivne participated in several technical assistance projects that develop various types of energy plans. The city had energy screening performed at all public facilities in 2020. It also uses Energobalance system to collect and display energy consumptions of public facilities. In 2021, Rivne reaffirmed its commitment with Covenant of Mayors for climate and energy and the second energy plan is being developed with the aim of reducing CO0 emission by 30%. So we hope by 2030 we will reduce emission by 30%. Next, please. Some barriers and challenges that addressed via pilot activities. So the first, data collected by different organizations, city departments, public utilities, energy suppliers for their specific purposes without an intention to be a part of a bigger data system. Another issue and challenge, the data are in different forms and formats. The third one, no regular building parameters, update system in place. There are no any association of the data which demands strong knowledge of city planning from the user of data, so they can imagine what they are facilities in. Some questions. So often only the specialist working with a particular data set knows where it's located and how it's structured. And when the specialist leaves the city administration, access to data is essentially lost. So this is some barriers and some challenges. What we're going to have with some pilot activities. First one, compiling municipal energy passport. So development of the net zero city document, establishing of renewable energy, laboratory or workshops, development of training courses, planning and implementing renewable energy and efficiency, and conducting training for managers of public and apartment buildings. Development of software for transferring and integration heat consumption data. Equipping 250 public buildings with temperature records. Equipping 118 public buildings with automatic heat meters. And also we suppose energy development scenario modeling. So quite a lot of work to cover these issues and pilot activities. Also, as for stakeholders that need to be engaged, we are working with education now, with educational institutions. So National University of Water Management and Resources, Rivne Construction College, Rivne Technical Specialized College of National University, also some public facilities, and their staff and directors are deeply engaged. Students of educational institutions and local business, deputies of the city council. Altogether 183 organizations. So as for EU national regional policy alignment, this project, Net Zero City, contributes to following European Green Deal components. So first of all, finance and regional development. The second one, energy boost, efficiency and repower. So I have to tell that we are so proud to be, as a city, we are so proud to be among all European cities. We are only one city from Ukraine that has a chance to take part in Net Zero City program, and hope we will show our best results, and we will get success in this Green Deal and in this big deal for our country, especially in wartime, and Rivne City will prosper in this deal. So thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us today, Alexander, and share these relevant facts about the journey of Rivne to sustainability and climate neutrality. Thank you so much. Now we will dive into another topic, which is experiences of rebuilding on the ground. And we will be joined by a couple of speakers. But just to introduce the topic, the Ukrainian people have showcased to the world remarkable resilience. An unwavering spirit, bravery and determination has left the world in awe. For decades, civil society organizations have played a big role in shaping Ukraine's future and started the path also towards the European Union, and now leading the way in the green reconstruction on the ground with the same courage and determination. So I'm truly happy to welcome on stage Marina Ratushna, who is responsible for the energy policy at the NGO called Eco Action, and also Diana Popfalshi, who is project manager at another NGO who is called Plato. So Marina, to start with you, Eco Action called for a green post-war reconstruction in multiple national and international events and conferences and such from the first days of war. Now you have implemented a few reconstruction pilots for the green recovery, showcasing what this can look like in practice. We're very, very curious to hear from you about examples of that. Maybe heat pump and solar plant, power plant that you have installed in the clinic of Kiev, or some other examples that you'd like to touch upon. Please, Marina.
Thank you, dear participants. I'm delighted to be here with you, and my today's speech will consist of two parts. First part will be about green reconstruction principle, and the second exact example of green reconstruction in Kiev region. Let's start from the first. Having studied the statement of the president, representative of the government and the parliament of Ukraine, as well as the position of international partner, civil society organization developed principle on which the reconstruction of Ukraine should be based. The key requirement is that Ukraine recovery should not be a return to the pre-war status, but a full-fledged development and integration into the European community based on sustainable development principles, taking into account the European Green Deal. And few speakers before me have already talked about this. This principle, more than 50 NGOs have signed these principles. It was in spring 2022. One of them, for example, integration of environmental and climate policy into all sectors, environmental standards at all levels, involvement of the public and communities in decision making, and development of the green economy. And now I think logical question should be how to implement in practical way all these principles. So I'm going to tell you about the example of green reconstruction in Kiev region, about Horinka outpatient center. At the beginning of full-scale war, a shell hit the yard of the outpatient clinic in Horinka. The blast wave knocked out windows and damaged the facade and roof of the building. Due to the lack of electricity during the cold days, at the end of February 2022, the heating system was badly damaged. The reconstruction in Horinka was initiated by Greenpeace Central and Eastern Europe and implemented in cooperation with NGOs Eco Action, Eco Club, Charitable Foundation Victory of Ukraine, with the assistance of the Hostomel Military Administration and the Hostomel Primary Health Care Center. For the outpatient clinic to be able to operate fully, and more enormously even during power outages and without a generator. The reconstruction of the heating and power supply system began in November 2022. Since January 2023, a heat pump with a capacity of 20 kilowatts, a solar power plant with a capacity of 12 kilowatts, and a battery with a capacity of 8 kilowatts have been operating there. Need to say, the currently heat pumps are one of the most modern and environmentally friendly ways of heating supply. The roof of the hospital was ideal for the installation of solar panels, which will power the critical elements of the outpatient clinic during the day and charge the battery in case of emergency or scheduled power outages. Over time, the power plant can be expanded to ensure a full energy independence for the outpatient clinic. The reconstruction cost of the heating system and the installation of the solar panel in Horinka amounted to about 56,000 euros. This cost will be fully repaired in 6-7 years due to savings on energy resources and the electricity production by the outpatient clinic itself. We think that renewable energy technologies, together with energy efficiency measures similar to those applied in Horinka, should not be one-off projects, but the basis of the reconstruction of both Ukrainian buildings and our energy system. And now, NGO Eco-Action, together with NGO Eco-Club, within the framework of the project Closing the Loop, Just Energy Transition designed by capitals and regions, financed by the European Union, is conducting the grant competition for project proposals in the field of green energy. So I encourage Ukrainian communities and the Ukrainian NGOs apply and use this opportunity. More details you can find on the Eco-Action website. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Marina. And now over to you, Diana. Your work with nature-based solutions is one of the pioneers in Ukraine and an inspiration abroad. Can you share with us how nature-based solutions are helping cities and also people to adapt to the current reality of war? And what are your plans and visions for a nature-positive reconstruction of Ukraine going forward?
Hi, thanks for having me here. So my presentation will be more like a story than a presentation, because Marina already mentioned the principles we are all as a civil society of Ukraine agreeing on how to rebuild Ukraine in a more greener and more efficient way. So as a citizen of Lviv, I was living in a place in Ukraine which was not that harmed by Russian missiles. Yes, we had some attacks, but that wasn't the reason we had to stop. So we started to search for our role. So what should we do? How we can help the other part of Ukraine? How we can embrace people and how we can embrace the problems we are having now? And then we were trying to find a solution. So mostly the place we are working now with my NGO Plateau is an urban garden. So it's one of the first places in Ukraine to have these features. And in Ukraine, there are actually a two-step procedure of making things work. The first step is searching for a project like this somewhere in the European Union, because we are going towards the EU. So this is a good practice if it's working there. And the second step is to search for something like this in Ukraine. And not every practice developed in the EU we can find in Ukraine. So then we talked to the team and said, guys, maybe it's time to do more. So we just started to pilot some solutions, mostly like nature-based solutions in our garden, but also all around the city. So see, okay, this is working and this is not working. And our plan is actually not just to make a pilot, but do our projects in the way that we will have other seasons based on the pilot we are doing. So this is our plan to scale up. And we did a lot of work in our garden, and we did a lot of work with our city together. And most of the work was also really challenging for us because of the money, because of the people, because of the situation also. And during our work, we saw that there are few principles we have to rely on to really make the reconstruction in our work resilient, and that we see the resources we are taking from the nature, the resources we are giving also back. So the first one we discovered is to reuse as much as possible. So taking the materials we are having on the ground and using them, not only the materials we have from the nature, but also the artificial and mankind made. So for example, we also can a bit rely to construction debris, because we have also a big glass house which was working during the beginning of the 20th century. It's mostly destroyed, and we decided not to just break it down, but use the elements and incorporate it into the framework of our garden. And also we have a lot of black beton blocks, and we decided we have to keep it because it's already a part of the of our garden, and we made furniture out of it. So this is also the way you use on-site things and reuse them. The other principle is repurpose. For example, we are also a garden. We have food waste and we have green waste, so we can reuse it and compost it. The other thing is community building. So without people, nothing will work. So it doesn't matter if they are local citizens or if they are IDPs. We have to embrace them. And the other thing is piloting, I already mentioned, is really important for us. And the last one is using nature as an inspiration. So here we have nature-based solutions and also garden therapy we are implementing now a lot.
Thank you so much for your valuable input, Diana and Marina, and really looking forward to working with your organizations and also other civil society organizations in the work going forward in UniCities and in helping cities become climate neutral and sustainable for the future, including in Ukraine. So now we come to the next point in the agenda, where we will dive a little bit more into the role of universities in the reconstruction and the green transition. As you've already heard, the UniCities initiative aims at enhancing the capacity of rebuilding Ukrainian cities, and a key component, as we've heard before also, is to create these multi-stakeholder platforms for collaboration, and where universities have a unique place. Here together we have 4 representatives from different universities and who share their different perspectives on the role of these multi-stakeholder platforms for climate neutrality in cities. So I'm happy to welcome Deborah Domingo, who is the Vice Rector of Sustainability at the Technical University of Valencia, working closely with the city of Valencia, who is also mobilized in the mission, and also joined by our dear friend Jaime Moreno Serna, who is Assistant Professor at the Department of Organizational Engineering and Business Management at the Technical University of Madrid. He is also an expert advisor both to Cities 2030 and to Viable Cities. And we also have the pleasure to welcome Anastasia Soroka, who is a third-year student at the Chernihiv Polytechnical National University. And last but not least, we are also joined again by Veronica Hudelai. Did I get it right now, Veronica? Ha! I'm getting there. Rector of ISTU in Kiev. So let's start with you, Deborah. Would you like to please share the case of the collaboration between the Polytechnical University of Valencia and the city of Valencia?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Asa, and thank you also to the organizers of the event for inviting the UPV and allowing this university to show up in such an enriching conversation. I've been following since the beginning, and I really found it incredible, useful for take ideas, share ideas, and apply them after all. The case of the Valencia Universitat Politécnica de Valencia and the town council of the city of Valencia is, I would say, I will tag it as a love story. Actually, the background was there when we arrived. The city had applied for several candidacies, innovation awards, European Innovation Awards, the Green Capital City, Mission 2030. So the courage of the politicians was there. And this is, for me, it's a key ingredient when you look for such an important collaboration. Is I always ask the politicians, always I have the occasion, I ask them to be very courageous and to make a step forward, because without them, we could not follow these steps. But the background was also there on the side of the UPV, because as I always say, the university is a place where the innovation happens. We teach how to be transformative in our thinking, and we learn to be innovative. So we create, in a way, we create the knowledge, and we are responsible for transferring it to the society. And at the UPV, as it is a polytechnical university, one can find, I would say, almost all the specialities in areas of knowledge and reputed researchers that were already there, collaborating with the city council, but also with other companies in the city, and going forward in this neutral achievement. So the facts are that the rector and the mayor thought that committed themselves to become carbon neutral, and they decided that that was going to be a win-win situation. If the University Polytechnical of Valencia becomes neutral by 2030 or by 2050, because it is included in the city will win, and at the same time, the city can consider the campus of our university a sort of district or neighborhood. So by enhancing us, or by fostering us to do such as actions, it will also help the city. And with this win-win situation, they signed an agreement. The agreement was a sort of a declaration at the very beginning, but that it became a formal agreement that collects every kind of possible collaborations one could find. And we are talking about research projects, but also about learning outcomes in our university that are directed to these particular goals, doctoral theses, prizes, etc. But probably the most, I would say, the more interesting part of this agreement is what we have called UPV Living Lab. The Living Lab is a way of understanding our campus as a sort of protected environment when we can test and put in practice some experiences that will help the institution to become carbon neutral, and at the same time can be scaled and tested at a larger scale in the city. This UPV Living Lab was launched 6 months ago with a call for projects, and we are already putting them in practice. And this is something that is not only happening in the UPV, but I just wanted to share our particular case. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Deborah. Very interesting to hear from Valencia. And we have the privilege and the honor to have Anna from the University of Valencia at our offices now here in Stockholm as well. And over to you, Jaime. Is there something similar to what Deborah just described in Madrid, between the university and the city? Would you like to shortly describe that?
Yes, of course. And thank you so much for the invitation, and I'm really glad to share a panel with these wonderful people, these wonderful women. I would start my intervention by highlighting that urban transformation processes require new models of collaboration, radical collaborations, and as Julio pointed that go beyond classical and transactional relationships and that enable the adoption of systemic approaches. We need this systemic view, to advance simultaneously, for example, on the replication of sustainable solutions locally, or strengthen connections among very different stakeholders that we are seeing today. Also, to promote multi-level collaboration, and we are more and more seeing the importance of convening the local, the national, the regional, the European, the global effort, and also for spreading sustainable alternatives to the wider public. For doing this, solid and stable convening vehicles are needed, and universities, we believe that are particularly well placed to create and maintain these vehicles, relying on the one hand on the combination of expert knowledge, youth talent, and intangible assets such as legitimacy or neutrality, but also on their independence and capacity of developing their own strategic SDG-oriented programs, such as the one that we have heard about in Valencia.
Yeah.
So the multi-stakeholder platforms based on the bone of the city council and the university binomial, they may accelerate urban climate neutrality processes. And this is the case of Madrid demonstration or Madrid mission, which we're calling now.
Quite similar actually to the journey in Valencia, and I know Jaime, sorry to cut in there, but we're a little bit short of time. But I think that it's really interesting to see how you've been similar in this approach, and also certainly because of the national and the cross-city collaboration in Spain. Really interesting to hear from you both. Let's go over to the Ukrainian context with Veronica. So back to you, Veronica, from the city of from the ISTU and the university in Kiev. Would you like to share what your view is on the role of your university to meet societal challenges and do this transformation?
Yeah.
Shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, Asa. At the International Scientific and Technical University, we fully realized the need to strengthen the role of our university in solving the sustainability changes of our society. Already now, we have some experience in collaborating with companies and public authorities, and at the same time, we are learning from the best practice of our partners in Sweden and Spain. To become better equipped to meeting the needs of Ukraine through the challenge driving education, research and innovation. That is why we are happy to participate in UniCities project together with partner universities in Ukraine, Spain and Sweden, with the Association of Ukrainian Cities and other stakeholders. Together we are planning to develop a joint platform for co-creation with stakeholders in Ukraine and Europe to contribute to the green recovery of Ukrainian cities. So this is Transition Lab Forum is the starting point for us in this journey. Thank you.
So much, Veronica. And now, last but not least, in this quadruple people gathering. So Anastasia, you're with us from a student perspective. I guess you have heard a lot of what has been said today, and you have a kind of specific view. You're looking at the point of view from a student perspective at the Chernihiv University. How do you think students can help or could help cities in the green rebuilding of Ukraine?
Good afternoon, nice to see you. I'm so glad to see you, and thank you so much for the invitation. I'd like to start that students have great potential in helping cities during this process, during the green recovery of Ukraine after the war. This process can include a wide range of activities that can be useful in improving the quality of the life in communities and restoring the environment after armed conflict. Students of the city of Chernihiv, and in particular of the Chernihiv Polytechnic National University, have some experience in this area, which I would like to introduce you to. One way students can help is by studying energy efficiency of buildings and implementing green technologies in older buildings. They can perform energy efficiency audits, look for ways to improve insulations and use renewable energy sources. This will help reduce energy consumption and reduce environmental pollution. Students of our university majoring in architecture and urban planning currently acquire such skills during their studies that will be in great demand in the post-war period. In addition, students can help implement green spaces in cities. They can take responsibility for the landscaping of streets, squares, and public areas. Students of Chernihiv Polytechnic National University already have the experience of participating in the green of the city within the framework of the Chernihiv Ecological Project and will continue these initiatives. Students can also be actively involved in the creation of environmental initiatives in their cities. They can organize environmental campaigns that aim to raise awareness of the importance of environmental protection and encourage green practices. Such campaigns may include conducting seminars, trainings, lectures, and organizing environmental events aimed at garbage collection, recycling, energy efficient use of resources, and other green practices. In addition, students can create information materials and videos that explain the importance of saving the environment and motivate the community to take action. Today, a team of Chernihiv Polytechnic National University students has started work on a startup dedicated to the issue of environmental awareness. As a part of the project, a number of activities aimed at popularizing the principles of sustainable development, increasing the environmental responsibility of citizens, and generating ideas for ecological projects are planned. In addition, students can participate in research and innovation projects aimed at the development of sustainable energy and green technologies. They can explore the use of renewable energy sources, the creation of effective water management systems, the development of environmental friendly materials, and other innovative solutions. This will contribute to the development of the green economy and the creation of new jobs in the field of ecology. At every university, the scientific club Young Ages of Change functions. The members of the club are students. They are constantly involved in conducting research in the field of decarbonization of the economy and ecologization of enterprises. The results of scientific research have practical value and are implemented at enterprises, contributing to the improvement of their environmental efficiency and positively influencing the city as a whole. In addition, students can act as mediators between local authorities, the community, and activists, promoting dialogue and cooperation. They can organize meetings, forums, or collaborative projects to bring different stakeholders to work together on green urban regeneration. Students from the Student Council of our Chernihiv Polytechnic National University have a proactive position and participate in city and regional level events dedicated to the reconstruction of the city. In general, students have great potential to support the green reconstruction of cities after the war in Ukraine. And in order to implement the above measures, new approaches and methods are needed, and therefore new knowledge and skills. Therefore, there is a demand among students for new knowledge in the field of circular economy, green reconstruction of cities, smart concepts in the management of cities, and the post-war period. In my opinion, it would be appropriate to introduce such a course into the educational program, which would provide students with this comprehensive knowledge, which is extremely important for the green reconstruction of the cities of Ukraine in the post-war period, and familiarize students with innovative approaches in this field. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Anastasia, for this kind of wealth of ideas for actions and for possible involvement of students in the green reconstruction. So we're approaching the end of this event, and I'd like to just ask you for a short comment from all four of you. Now, this is the kickoff of this UniCities initiative, which is an initiative to accelerate the collaboration for the green construction of Ukraine. What are your hopes, Debra, Jaime, Veronica, and Anastasia? What are your main hopes for this collaboration going forward? What do you hope to be happening as a result of this and the Ukrainian cities becoming part of the mobilization across Europe. Would you like to start, Deborah?
Yes, sure. My hope will be that this old shared experience become regular for everyone in the world and in every city in Europe and all around the world. I mean, to become that we are sharing all this experience as if it was something exceptional, because it is. It is the first time we are innovating, etc. But I will dream of arriving to a level in which this will be like our regular activity day by day, understanding this.
Creating the new normal, so to speak.
Yes.
Thank you, Deborah. What do you hope for, Jaime?
Well, firstly, I will love to see peace arriving as soon as possible. And in the framework of this collaboration, I would love also to learn and to contribute to a shared new normality for Europe. I think that in terms of sustainable development, all we are underdeveloped. So it's our duty to build a new normality and to build new knowledge from universities and to create a new position, create universities that can have really a leadership in the climate transition in Europe and global.
Thank you, Jaime. And you, Veronica, what are some of your most urgent hopes for this effort in UniCities and the mobilization in Ukraine of the cities?
No, we have a war in our country. And the war changed a little bit priorities. Yes, of course. But we need peace, and I hope we will have it. So now in this project we have it's just started. So we have great teachers, and I hope all. I'm sure that all our issues will be successfully realized, and we will achieve our goals.
Great, thank you, Veronica. And Anastasia, what is your perspective? What do you hope for this this effort in the UniCities and the mobilization of cities to become sustainable and climate neutral in the reconstruction of Ukraine?
Of course, the war is going on, but nevertheless, we should take some steps in order to and think about the situation after the war, because we need to plan, and this also takes time. And of course, the consequences of the war is just awful, but we need to just to go on and to try to share ideas, to even to take some actions, and because the visionary planning is vital, and we need to do something, and nevertheless that the war is going on, and this experience is extremely valuable because it gives us an opportunity to share our thoughts, opinions, and of course to build the economy sustainable, and to start the way of sustainable development and decarbonization of the economy.
Thank you so much, Deborah, Jaime, Veronica, and Anastasia, for being with us. So now we've approached the end of the program of today, and it's time now for reflections from the day and takeaways from UniCities initiative going forward. And I'm now we have heard perspectives from a whole host of speakers, and it's now time to reflect. So I'm joined here today in the studio by Olga Kordas, and we're also joined online by Anders Wikman, who is the Vice Chair of Viable Cities and a thought leader in climate and sustainability with a global perspective. Hi there, Anders. Is your mic working? Let's try that out.
Now it should be working, yes?
Yes, thank you for being with us. So let's begin with you, Olga. What are your main takeaways from today?
Thank you. Also, I have a lot of inspiration, but maybe if I'm thinking about three main takings. The first is that despite of the war and the tragedy which is happening in Ukraine now, we've had commitments and aspirations both from Ukrainian government, from Ukrainian municipalities, from civil society organizations, from universities to pursue green transition of Ukrainian cities. And this is enormously inspiring. I think that if cities of Ukraine have aspiration and have plans and also working on green transitions, and cities of Sweden have no excuse of not doing that. So this is the first important taking. The second one is when we are listening for the challenges and also opportunities and approaches used in cities of Spain, Sweden, and Ukraine, we could hear that there are very similar challenges about the data and digitalization, about energy systems, about holistic approach to both transition of energy and mobility system, and so on and so forth. So there's a huge potential for collaboration and co-creation between the cities. Then also when we hear about the different initiatives, there's a city mission, is a Bauhaus program, different networks, the Covenant of Mayors and others, then it's also a lot of similarities. So I would say that it's a great possibility for international collaboration, and then I would feel that Viable Cities, Cities 2030 and other organizations, they have a big kind of potential and big work to do to strengthen the collaboration and co-creation. And finally, we could hear a lot from the European partners, from the municipalities, and from representatives of universities in Sweden and Spain, and also from European Commission, that it's a huge mobilization, a lot of actors in Europe who want to contribute to green recovery of Ukraine. So those are my main takings.
Thank you, Olga. And now over to you, Anders, online. You've been in the journey with Viable Cities for a while now. What are your thoughts on the connection between the mobilization of for the cities mission in the rest of Europe and the sustainable reconstruction of Ukraine? How can Ukraine, in your view, benefit from accelerating the transition in cities of Europe and the rest of Europe? And how can the reconstruction in Ukraine benefit the climate and sustainability transition across Europe?
Well, that were some challenging questions, really. First of all, I would like to say that I'm so impressed by all the engagement and all the dedication and all the energy that we have been exposed to today by our Ukrainian friends in the midst of Putin's aggression. It's really commendable to be able to focus on the long term at the same time as you are in constant anxiety and experiencing constant bombing and aggression from Putin. And it's apparent that the dedication for climate neutrality was there before the war. Otherwise, we wouldn't see what we have experienced today. And I'm so impressed that all of you keep the spirit up. If I compare to some of my colleagues in Sweden, I sort of was given the impression today that the priority is even higher among some of our Ukrainian friends. So I think some of my Swedish friends, they should really listen and pay attention to the challenges you face, but also to the opportunities. Secondly, of course, not all construction, not all buildings have been hit, luckily, but we know that there is a lot of damage done, and that the Russian forces, they are deliberately targeting civilian buildings, infrastructure. So there is a lot that have to be reconstructed. And of course, it makes a lot of sense to do the reconstruction in the most environmentally, socially, and climate-friendly way. Because you kill two birds with one stone, because you have a long-term agenda that is very important, but also because the operating costs, when you do it this way, will be much lower. We know that. If you build in energy efficiency, if you start looking beyond linear production into circular production, your material costs will be much lower and pollution will be lower. So there are some win-win-win situations here that Ukraine can and obviously will benefit from. I do remember after the horrible tsunami in 2004-2005 in Asia, Bill Clinton said, now we have to build back better. That was sort of a sentence that was, or language that was developed at that time. I'm not so sure they did build back better, but for you, this is going to be so important to build back better. And it's not only energy, it's everything that has to do with infrastructure, that has to do with transportation, that has to do with mobility, and not least with agriculture. And also that you need a systemic approach. Don't focus only on cities. Cities are in the midst of hinterlands, so the interrelationship between regions and cities are very, very important. And agriculture, not least in your country with the very fertile soils you have, is very, very important. The systemic approach is also needed because everything is interconnected. We have learned that in viable cities when we work on the cities in Sweden. I've learned that also in my work in Climate Kick at the European level. Patrick Child referred to it. The systemic approach is very much needed. Of course, you can solve some problems by focusing on single point solutions, on a single technology. But if you really want to transform society, you need a broader approach. You need a systemic approach. And what I could hear today was elements of that systemic approach, not least when some of you were discussing energy and the role that energy plays. And let me emphasize that we have to change energy systems, not only because of the climate challenge, but also because of peak oil. It's not going to be possible to just continue to use more and more fossil fuels in the future. There won't be enough of it. So there are so good reasons to get out of the fossil fuel-based economy and into something new. Finally, what I think is so exciting with this agenda is that because of the novelty of many of the challenges, we have to learn by doing. And sometimes we take an initiative, we do something, and after half a year or a year, we conclude, this was not the best way to do it. So we have to learn by doing. And we have to tolerate that there are some mistakes, because we will learn also from the mistakes. But anyway, I'm so impressed by all the positive spirits in the midst of a terrible war. So, as they said, hats off.
Thank you so much, Anders, for being with us for now. Looking forward to collaborate on this also going forward. Thank you, Anders. So, Olga, now it's time to conclude. You are the coordinator for the UniCities initiative. You are the instigator of viable cities in Sweden, and you kind of been an inspiration for a lot of people. But what do you think is important to take away from today in the work going forward in UniCities?
Yeah, I I'm thinking that so today we've heard about commitments. We also heard a lot about universities' roles in bringing together different actors, municipalities, civil society organizations, companies, and other universities and other actors. So I think that what we are taking with us that in Ukraine we are going, and we have already started this work, we are going to create a Viable Cities sister organization, UniCities, as a platform for co-creation, for bringing together all those different actors, city networks, cities, universities, students, civil society organizations, in order to accelerate the transition towards a green future, but also to create even more thriving green cities of Ukraine. I also think that this work would bring a lot of inspiration back to Europe and to Viable Cities, to Cities 2030. I also want to say that Viable Cities and Cities 2030 and UniCities in the future, they are not competitive platforms. So it's not or never about competition. It's about collaboration. So I would love to invite all of you who is listening for this UniCities Transition Lab, watching us to connect, to bring your knowledge and your aspirations to the platform. And I hope that the community of organizations that would be connected to UniCities will be rather large, so that we can make a difference in the future and in the very near future. Within Viable Cities Transition Lab Forum is a learning activities and co-creation activities when we meet, we discuss the challenges and opportunities, and we also co-create. Just in a few moments, in 30 minutes, we will have a workshop. So all of you who registered are very welcome to join the workshop, where we will start discussing how can we co-create and how can we make difference in practice. So very welcome to participate in the workshop, and very welcome to participate in the future UniCities Transition Lab forums. Thank you.
Yes, and this has become the time to conclude. It's been a privilege to listen in to and to be part of all this collaboration that is the start of UniCities and the mobilization for a green and climate neutral future of the cities of Ukraine, together with loads of stakeholders across Europe and in Spain and Sweden not least. So this is just the beginning. So take the opportunity, join forces, stay tuned, and let's co-create a sustainable climate neutral future for all together. Thank you.